Next on Worcester News Tonight, Decision 2016. How many are using a new option allowing them to vote before Election Day? Plus a look at how 4 college students killed by a wrong-way driver are being remembered. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. We'll have a look at those stories in a bit, but we begin with news from tonight's City Council meeting and new developments on long-awaited dog parks. They are now a step closer to being open next year. Tonight, City Council resumed discussions on the plan for dog parks and requested the city manager come up with recommendations to open at least 2 dog parks by Memorial Day next year. City Council recently approved changing a city ordinance to allow dog owners to walk their pets at certain parks in Worcester. Tonight's move is another step in making city parks more dog-friendly.
It makes sense to open it up where we have the most dogs first, rather than someplace where we don't have tons of dogs. At some point, obviously, we'd like to open one in each district.
The city manager is planning to present his recommendations to City Council at its November 15th meeting. Election Day, just 2 weeks from today, but people don't have to wait until then to vote. Starting this week, people can cast their ballots thanks to a new option in the state. Our Olivia Lemon has a look at how early voting is going in Worcester.
Andy, more than 1,200 people voted early Monday in Worcester as part of the new early voting option. As of noontime Tuesday, more than 400 ballots had been casted. This is the first general election where Massachusetts voters have the option of early voting. In the past, residents who didn't plan on voting on Election Day had to submit absentee ballots instead. Worcester's Election Commission says they expect about 1,000 people a day to vote in the early voting.
We encourage people to go on the city website, look at the early voting app, find your closest early voting location, and you should be directed from there.
Now, the Election Commission says this option will help alleviate long lines on Election Day. Andy?
Thanks, Olivia. And the last day of early voting is November 4th. Election Day is November 8th. We are learning more details about the 5 people killed in a horrific head-on crash in Middleboro late Sunday night. Authorities have identified the victims, 4 young men who were in one of the cars involved in the crash and went to 2 colleges in central Massachusetts. Our Brittany Schaefer has a look at how they're being remembered.
He was just always smiling, trying to make everyone happy.
Becker College sophomore Jean-Pierre remembers his good friend Jordan Fisher Tuesday. Fisher was killed along with 4 others in a car crash on Interstate 495.
Me and him clicked ASAP. When death hits home like that, when people die, you don't really think about it unless when it's like close to you. So this one really touched home for a lot of us.
4 young men's lives were cut short when state police say a wrong-way driver hit their car head-on, causing it to catch fire. Police are still investigating why the driver was traveling on the wrong side of the highway.
It's just kind of crazy. It's unreal seeing him go like that.
They were doing nothing wrong. They were coming back to school on a Sunday night. They're just 2 guys who always did the right thing, and for this to happen to them, that just adds to the shock.
19-year-old Jordan Fisher and 18-year-old Corey Licata were both freshmen at Becker College. 20-year-old Craig Diggs and 19-year-old Jordan Galvin Jutras were students at Anna Maria College. Both Worcester area colleges say their small communities are mourning.
2 students who are very popular, very visible on campus. There's very few people who don't feel really touched by this. It's hard to deal with.
Quiet. The classes have been managing. All I've been hearing is positive from their faculty.
Both colleges have grief counselors available for students and faculty and are planning memorial services.
Those are kids that sat next to me in class, and it was a heavy hitter.
I just wish I could say one last thing to him because that was my bro. I really miss my bro.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
There's no word on funeral arrangement yet for any of the 4 students. Meanwhile, today we learned the name of the driver involved in the deadly wreck. 31-year-old Valentin Burson was also killed in the crash, but it is still not known why she was driving in the wrong direction. Eli Rosenberg reports.
The twisted metal, the wreckage, the 5 lives cut short. 4 students headed back to college in one car. 31-year-old Valentin Burson and this white Infiniti.
It's like a tragedy for both sides. The kids that passed away and then for her, you know, because they were pretty young. I would park here all the time where this car is. and they would park over here.
Ian Barberos got to know Burson and her boyfriend at this Fall River apartment.
I always said about the car how nice the car was. I like Infinities personally. I always wanted one, but it was nice, and they were nice people.
A day after, still so many questions. Why was Burson's Infiniti going the wrong way on I-495 early Monday morning near Middleboro? State troopers say she hit this Mercury Sable with 4 students inside. All 5 died at the scene.
It's tragedy. It's tragedy. Because, you know, those young kids don't deserve to pass away. They have a long, huge life ahead of them, and she didn't deserve to go either.
A Czech state driving records show Burson had 5 speeding tickets since 2004, and her license also suspended several times for defaulting on payments. A family that just lost Burson's older brother tragically, now dealing with another loss, among so many questions about what happened and why. The hope is that some of these questions will be answered in this investigation, but that will not come today. State troopers saying only the investigation into this fatal accident continues this evening. In Fall River, Eli Rosenberg, Worcester News Tonight.
As next year approaches, many are looking for health insurance coverage, and one Massachusetts program was in the city today to help. The Massachusetts Health Connector visited Worcester to promote next week's open enrollment for health insurance. The Health Connector stopped by Crompton Collective to discuss getting health insurance through the Connector. COO Vicki Coates says getting the program out in the community will help those in need of coverage.
Beautiful place in Worcester is we think our Connector Care program, which allows people to find affordable health care, is a hidden gem. And so we're out in hidden gems, places and communities to just raise awareness.
Uninsured residents are able to apply for coverage starting November 1st and have until the end of January. Well, no one injured in an accident in Worcester where a car ended up hitting the front of a pizza shop. The accident happened near Hamilton Street. As you can see, there is some cracked glass and posts at Road Runner Pizza. A witness tells Worcester News Tonight a car going through the rotary hit another car and then the front of the store. No one was injured. The building only had minor damage. Also in Worcester, an investigation is underway after a pickup truck and bicycle collided. The crash happened near Pleasant Street and Copley Road just after 6 Monday evening. Police say the driver of the pickup was making a left turn, did not see the bicyclist until it was too late. The man on the bicycle suffered broken bones as well as injuries to his chest and face. He's in stable condition tonight. At this time, no citations have been issued. A conference in Westboro Tuesday gave leaders from the juvenile justice system a chance to address the issues of confinement for low-risk youth in Massachusetts. As our Catherine Andrioli shows us, the summit looked at racial and ethnic disparities in juvenile detention.
The JDAI, or Massachusetts Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, discussed issues of racial and ethnic disparities in the criminal justice system at Tuesday's summit in central Massachusetts.
African American youth are 7 to 1 times more likely to be detained than youth that are Caucasian. That was something that to me jumped out.
Members from police departments, probation officers, and stakeholders were among many who participated in workshops at the summit.
So we have workshops on being more culturally competent and working with families. We have workshops on facilitating difficult conversations. Talking about race and ethnicity is hard work. About 10 years ago when we began JDAI, all we had were hardware secured, razor-wired buildings for young people while they were awaiting their next court date. We now have a continuum, so we have some shelter care, more group home settings for young people.
The summit included keynote speaker Bethany Johnson-Jadois, former managing director of the Ferguson Commission. She says communities throughout the state need to work together to navigate racial disparities.
My main message for today was to say that what we have in common is some intractable issues that we need to figure out how to work together. That data is great, but data is not enough.
Leaders of the justice system say building and maintaining relationships are key components to addressing juvenile detention disparities.
Really, relationships change the lives of young people. They need to feel supported, don't we all? And that's what we work very hard in the community to make sure that that happens.
In Westboro, Catherine Andrioli,